I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
I remember back in like late 2015, early 2016, when everyone was so excited about Suicide Squad. We were all saying it was going to be a breath of fresh air for DC, and yeah, how could you not be excited? The trailers were amazing. Remember how good the marketing was for this movie? We had all these amazing trailers, and they all looked like they were going to be a breath of fresh air. And then the movie came out, and it was really, 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 really bad. I mean, really bad. Some even argue it's one of the worst cop movies ever made. And while I wouldn't go that far, I do kind of understand. The movie is awful. Honestly, though, I think it's a so bad it's good movie. I'm not even joking. Don't get me wrong. It's far from good. It is atrocious. But it's a fascinatingly terrible movie, and every once in a while, if you pop it in, it is really fun to make fun of, at least for me. The plot is so horrendous, and the editing is so laughably terrible that it's really fun to make fun of. The editing's bad, certain scenes are obviously out of order, Jared Leto's Joker's bad. Look, I'm not here to tell you why Suicide Squad's a bad movie, because you already know it's a bad movie. The other day, though, I decided to rewatch this bad movie, and I decided to do an experiment and watch it, and then immediately after, watch the James Gunn version. And it's a really fascinating experience, to say the least. Anyway, it also got me in the mood to wonder how to fix this movie, because it is a difficult movie to fix. I've been toying with this idea for a long time, but I've decided to rewrite Suicide Squad. And this script's something that's been in the making for like a while, because like I've thought of so many ways to fix this movie, and a lot of these ideas I've had for a really long time. So in today's video, I would like to further crap on WB after all the controversy that's come out, and talk about some changes I'd make to Suicide Squad and how I would fix that movie. I know it's not relevant, but I mean, WB is getting a lot of hate right now, so, you know, maybe it is. Look, I just want to make this video, okay? I don't have a good reason for making it other than I watched it the other day and I want to make it. So today I have kind of a rough draft script I want to go over with and some ideas that I want to get your insight on. So without further ado, this video is going to be long enough. Let's go over some of the ideas behind the script and some rules I have to follow. Now, I felt like torturing myself, so I decided to restrict myself to the DCEU continuity. Meaning, I can't kill any characters off that appear in a future DCEU film. So Captain Boomerang can't die. Harley Quinn can't die. I have to keep the continuity of Batman v Superman where Batman becomes a murderous psychopath. And I have to keep the continuity where Superman plows through Metropolis and kills God knows how many people.
Krypton had its chance!
That's basically it for ground rules. I just can't break the continuity of anything other than what Suicide Squad establishes. Everything else has to be able to stay in canon. Why did I do this to myself? Now, before I get into details of my script, I need to let you know some of the big changes going into the movie. Number 1, no Enchantress. This is no surprise to anyone, but by far one of the biggest complaints for Suicide Squad is Enchantress was a dumb villain and unnecessary. They need a different bad guy for the Suicide Squad, and I agree. So like most people want, I want to make the villain Joker. However, not just him, small change with the Joker, don't cast Jared Leto and give him a different design. I used to think this wasn't Jared Leto's fault, and to an extent, I still think that, but I think the Snyder Cut showed me that Jared Leto just is not that great of a pick for Joker. He is very entertaining and very fun to laugh at. That being said, I don't think he's that great in the role, and I would rather literally anyone else, like maybe Ewan McGregor or David Tennant. I think they would both kill it in the role.
What is she laughing at? Is she laughing at me? Get on the table.
Oh, you're being a total kook.
Get on the fucking table!
Thank you.
Is that a snot bubble? Ew, gross. Oh, I've changed my mind. Peel it off.
You have killed innocent people. Oh, well, that milquetoast little man boy, he interrupted me while I was leaving you a present, which apparently you didn't even find. Come on. You cannot pretend he didn't irritate you too. I wanted to slap him after 30 seconds. Next person whose phone rings has to eat it! Crappy fluorescent lights and cockroaches and loud cell phones and the smell of piss! I am trying to profess eternal love here, people!
And for the love of God, give him a different design. Just don't put damaged on his forehead. I don't care if he has tattoos, I think that's fine, but make them subtle. Don't make them ha ha ha, damaged J. I think something that'd be kind of cool is if you made him reminiscent of the Frank Miller Joker, kind of like Ben Affleck's reminiscent of the Frank Miller Batman. And also, don't make him a gangster. It's just stupid. Actually make him a villain. Because honestly, in the actual movie, he's not that much of a villain, as he's more of an obstacle and just kind of dumb. Like, he's a stupid gangster. Unless you know who Joker is, it's not going to come off like the anarchist maniac that he's supposed to be. So yeah, that's big change number 1. Big change number 2, there's another villain named Scarecrow. You may have heard of him. Now next is probably the biggest change, and that's the Suicide Squad lineup. With the original movie, I wasn't overly fond of the lineup we got, so here I'm going to change it up quite a bit. So fair warning, there's a lot more characters here. So for the lineup, I have Rick Flag, Deadshot, Deathstroke, Harley Quinn, Firefly, Killer Croc, Afterthought, Airwave, Black Spider, Bronze Tiger, Captain Boomerang, Slipknot, Dr. Psycho, Looker, Electrocutioner, Plastique, Mindboggler, Killer Moth, Copperhead, Killer Frost, and Cupid. The reason I added a lot more members is because I think James Gunn had the right idea with his film, which is that a lot of members need to die. Suicide Squad is called Suicide Squad, but only 2 members die. That's kind of stupid. In James Gunn's Suicide Squad, only like 4 or 5 members make it out alive. Almost everyone dies, and that's how it should be. The idea of Task Force X is that they're all expendable. I'm going to have 3 major battles in this movie with Joker and Scarecrow. And in all 3 of those major battles, I'm going to have a number of these people die. And the idea is I want to build up the idea that anyone can die. I'm going to spend a lot of time developing characters and then a few minutes later kill them off. Just to further hammer in the idea that everyone is expendable. I want a lot of members to die, not in an ambush at the beginning like with James Gunn's version, that'd just be a copy, but just in various battles, I want 4 or 5 members to die, until the final battle where there's like 8 members left. As far as some casting ideas go for the characters, obviously with Joker, David Tennant or Ewan McGregor. With Bronze Tiger, Michael J. White, because why not? Firefly, you can honestly get the guy who played El Diablo and I'd be fine with it. For Scarecrow, I would say Christopher Heyerdahl. I'm not sure if I'm butchering his name or not, but it's this guy from Peacemaker. For Killer Moth, I would go Tom Hardy. Killer Frost, I would go Charlize Theron. Finally, Black Spider, I'm not so sure on. I kind of imagine him to be the Black Noir type for this movie, so why not? The guy who played Black Noir, I think he'd be pretty good in the role. Or at least my version of the role. That's all I got casting-wise. The rest, I'll just leave up to you. I don't really care. Now, one last somewhat big change. Batman is actually going to serve a pretty major role in this movie. Similar to, like, Batman v Superman. He's not going to be the star. He's going to be a co-star. And again, it'll be similar to his role in Batman v Superman. The reason for this is because, well, I've made Joker and Scarecrow the villains, and those are part of his rogue gallery. And especially considering in this continuity, Joker killed Robin, who was basically Batman's son, I don't see a way that this can make sense. How would Joker be running around and Batman wouldn't be doing anything about it? Unless you want to say this takes place during Batman v Superman, which, I mean, I guess you could, but I didn't think about that till now, and I came up with a really good arc for Batman, so I'm just going to stick with what I had. Plus, the other problem is, Joker, the character, from a motivational standpoint, has everything to do with Batman. Like, the idea of their relationship is that Batman can live without Joker, but Joker can't live without Batman. Like, Joker legitimately, in his own sick, twisted way, loves Batman. Which is why Joker always says he doesn't want to kill Batman. He's too much fun.
Then why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you?
Upsetting to you.
Let's get back to him.
Why? You are so much more fun.
I'm not here to talk about me.
What are you here to talk about?
Everything Joker does revolves around how it will affect Batman because he's obsessed with him. So I had a really hard time trying to figure out how this movie can work without Batman if Joker is in fact the villain. But I think I found a way, and I'm actually really proud of it, so I can't wait to talk about it. Anyway, enough talking. This video is long enough. Let's talk about my version of Suicide Squad.
Act 1.
We open on a rooftop. It's raining, and we see Deadshot is there with a sniper rifle. Text appears at the bottom of the screen stating it took place 8 years ago. To show this, you can have Batman have a yellow and black logo if you want. He's getting ready to murder someone for Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. He sees him walking through a window having a drink with someone. He has a clear shot and is about to take it when suddenly Batman comes out of nowhere, kicks the rifle out of his hand, and the two get into a fight. It wouldn't be a terribly long fight, it'd be probably a minute or two, but it'd be, a fight between the two. Ultimately, it would end with Batman defeating Deadshot and then sending him to Blackgate. We then get a montage of the following 8 years. Here you can do some nice camera tricks showing the 8 years going by. It's an opportunity for creative directing to shine. Cut to present day, and Deadshot is told he has a visitor. His daughter comes, and they have a nice heart-to-heart. She tells him how badly she wished he had gotten out of prison, and while she doesn't hate him, she feels that he almost chose crime over her, and it kind of breaks her and her mom's heart, which is why her mom has taken her away. Lawton insists that's not true, but she says she believes it is. And that's why she's not going to see him for a while. And unfortunately for him, he's in prison for the next several years. Depressed, heartbroken, and vulnerable, Amanda Waller walks in and offers him a chance to join Suicide Squad. And she then explains that if he joins and completes the mission she sends him on, he will get 10 years off his prison sentence, and time to see his daughter and a chance to make everything right. Lawton agrees to her terms, and he is then an official member of Task Force X, and that's when we're introduced to the rest of the Suicide Squad. I already told you which members were on the Suicide Squad this time around, so I'll just move on. We then cut to them debriefing. They establish that Joker has broken out of Arkham some time ago, along with Scarecrow, and the two are working together. And according to her informant, Joker has gone crazier than ever and darker than ever, and him and Scarecrow are creating something that has the potential to wipe out Gotham City. Rick Flag goes to Amanda after the briefing's over. Here we get a clear implication that he doesn't like Amanda's idea and is only doing it because he's forced to, and we also see him asking her what about the Batman. She replies, what about him? He tells her if it's truly Joker, then that means Batman won't be far back. He's probably hell-bent to find him. She says she's taking precautions to lead Batman 10 steps back, though, and if all goes well, he'll be way behind their trail. We then cut to Wayne Manor and get our reveal of Bruce Wayne. Him and Alfred are watching the news, and they see some of the carnage Joker's caused. We don't see an image or anything of Joker here, but we see some of the dead bodies he left behind at some warehouse. We see these very graphic dead bodies with smiles carved in their faces. Their skin seemingly changed, and it looks like they've been hurt by some chemicals of some sort. Joker's clearly done something moronic to them. Bruce and Alfred, of course, are both horrified. Alfred suggests to Bruce that after his true change of heart, and if he's really trying to change, maybe seeing the clown is not the best thing for him right now. And he suggests that maybe he should send Dick or Barbara out to go find him and defeat him. Bruce then replies, "You know that I can't send someone else to fight my own battles. Not again." Here we get a few more light indications as to what happened with Jason Todd and Joker. Pause for a second. I know Zack Snyder said that Joker actually killed Dick Grayson and he didn't kill Jason Todd. Listen, I don't care. I know I said I'm not changing continuity, and I'm not really. In the movies, they haven't really directly said that it was Dick, at least up until Suicide Squad. In fact, for a few years, I thought it actually was Jason Todd in Batman v Superman, but apparently it's supposed to be Dick Grayson. I don't care. It's better if it's Jason Todd. And from Batman v Superman, the implications are light enough to where you can assume it's Jason Todd. So I'm rolling with it. I know it's not technically Jason Todd in universe, and I said I was keeping continuity. But honestly, I'm pretty sure the only time Dick Grayson's name has been mentioned is when Zack Snyder's doing an interview saying that Dick Grayson's dead. Other than that, in the actual movies, I don't think his name has ever even been dropped. Anyway, back to the cinematastic cut of Suicide Squad. They're being put into these cars, and Flag is with them, this big transport truck, and it's blending in with the environment, of course. And Flag briefs them on the way, saying that Waller got an informant telling them where Joker is currently. So they're on their way there. And in the truck, we see some of these characters starting to talk and interact with each other. Harley Quinn and Deadshot are already acquainted, so they talk and say it's been a long time, but they don't know each other superbly well and they weren't best friends. Harley and Deadshot bond over stories where Batman got them, captured them, and sent them to prison. They also explore each other's trauma, and they both talk about their motivations. Harley's talking about Joker and how he manipulated her and turned her insane, and kind of making a joke out of it, even though she's clearly struggling with it. And Deadshot talking about his love for his daughter and how he wants a fresh start. After that conversation's over, some characters start to ask Harley about Joker. Captain Boomerang says it's going to be easy because he's just a clown and he doesn't even have any superpowers. It'll be easy. You just have to walk in there, throw a boomerang at him, it'll snap his neck, and he'll die. Harley gives some brief but not too detailed explanation about the Joker. Talks about how he's psychotic, unpredictable, and how many people he's killed. And she blatantly dismisses Boomerang and even briefly talks about the death of Robin. She says, 1 minute you'll think he'll be nice and easygoing, then the next minute his hand's on your throat and he's threatening you. She tells them all not to underestimate him. After all, that's what Batman did, and the next thing he knows, Joker's in the middle of murdering his kid. The entire team is shocked to hear this because they didn't know Batman even had a kid. It's commonly known that Robin's probably dead or that he's disappeared, but Batman's never gone on press saying Joker killed my son. Harley says, well, at least I always assumed it was his son. And then she makes an obvious reference to Robin and basically says, why do you think Robin disappeared? Immediately after this, we have a shot of Harley almost looking remorseful in talking about the death of Robin. And then we get a flashback to her time with Joker and where she first met him, and a few minutes of her just talking to Joker. Here we see Joker slowly manipulating her, but not to the point where it's obvious. Joker at some point tricks her into opening up about her father who is abusive and neglectful, and he then relates to her by saying his father was apparently abusive and neglectful too, and starts telling stories about how evil his father was. Since Joker's identity is a mystery, here we can leave it up to the audience whether or not the stories he's telling are true, or it's just him making it up since he already heard Harley say she had an abusive father. We get to the point where she breaks him out, but Joker gets annoyed saying she isn't killing anyone, and we see that her transformation to Harley Quinn isn't really complete yet because she's still not actually killing anyone, she's just kind of maiming them. She's not as psychotic as he is. After the breakout, we cut back to present time. We then get our villain introductions to Joker and Scarecrow. A Joker goon is complaining to Joker about his plan, saying it's never gonna work, but then before he even finishes the sentence, Joker kills him with his acid flower, and his face melts. Scarecrow states, though, that Joker shouldn't have killed him and he wouldn't have done that. Joker's tone changes as he looks at him and says, "What did you say?" Scarecrow starts to get a little bit intimidated, but keeps his composure as Joker walks towards him and asks him to repeat what he just said. Joker gets closer and closer as he starts to creep Scarecrow out and gets very uncomfortable. He puts his hand on his shoulder, and right as you think he's about to do something in this creepy, atmospheric scene, he then laughs it off and makes fun of Scarecrow for getting a little scared. In the same scene, we see the informant that Waller may have been talking about. There's an inside man that was working for Waller and Flag that's a friend of Flag's and has been inside Joker's operation, and we see him reporting some information to them. As he's walking away, though, we see that about 10 feet behind him, Joker is watching him smiling, as he then walks toward the camera, and we cut to the next scene. We cut to Batman at a nightclub as he looks around, and behind him pops up Nightwing. Nightwing says he was surprised to have gotten Bruce's call because the two have been estranged for a few years, ever since Robin's death. Batman talks about times changing and how he needs him for this mission. Nightwing says he's glad he's called and asks how he's been, but then Batman kind of shuts him off, saying they have a mission to attend to. They can talk later. The two then walk into what seems to be an underground nightclub, and we find out this nightclub is owned by Penguin, who's been doing business with Joker, Johnny Sabatino, Roman Sionis, and Rupert Thorne. They find Penguin and interrogate him about Joker. Penguin gives them the location that Joker is currently at where the Suicide Squad is heading. Penguin then lets out a jab about Batman snapping and the rumor that he started killing people in Batman v Superman. Nightwing, of course, instantly defends him, saying it's ridiculous, but he notices Batman doesn't say anything and takes note of it, which starts to worry him. They walk out and start to go on their way to Joker's location. Unfortunately, it's about an hour away from where they are, so it's going to be a bit of a drive. The Suicide Squad arrives to the site, and Waller tells them to be on the lookout for anything suspicious. As they get ready, we can maybe get a scene like from the original theatrical version where Harley's kind of analyzing the people and making fun of them and showing us how good of a psychiatrist she is and how smart she really can be, analyzing them and getting a lot right about them. This, of course, comes right back her when she's exposed when someone tells her that she's only doing this to distract herself from the fact that she's about to see Joker again, for the first time since they broke up. Boomerang asks Flag why Joker's girlfriend's here, and he tells her that they broke up and Harley has a tactical advantage. She wants revenge on him, and she knows how Joker operates and works. She's our best chance to know what he's gonna have up his sleeve. This kind of fixes a problem I have with the Suicide Squad in general, but I understand why most of the members are there. They're all there for their own unique set of abilities, but why is Harley ever there? Like, in Suicide Squad, why would you send her? She's just crazy and has a baseball bat. What is she gonna do? She's not useful. She's just kind of fun. Like, yeah, you can't have the Suicide Squad without Harley Quinn, but I do think the films, including James Gunn's, could do a better job establishing why she's a part of this team. Because the only thing that makes her unique is the fact that she's just kind of crazy. Here, I think I've fixed that by establishing that Harley has a tactical advantage against Joker. Since they're trying to assassinate Joker, they need her help to know what he's going to have again up his sleeve, since again, he's unpredictable. He's been a thorn in Gotham's side for 20 years now, and routinely he will go to Arkham and then break out a few months later and get in another fight with Batman. And Waller believes it's time to end it by assassinating him, which is why they need Harley to know what Joker's gonna do. They go around the warehouse and see a bunch of dead bodies everywhere on the ground, which starts to worry them. The team splits up. Team 1, which I'll say is Deathstroke, Killer Frost, Looker, Plastique, Airwave, Killer Croc, Harley, Flag, and Mindboggler, go inside the warehouse while the rest stay outside and do reconnaissance and go around the building to see if anyone else is there for a stealth mission, kinda. Team 2 takes out like 3 goons that were on patrol, but not many, and they find it worrying. The place looks practically empty, which means Joker may not even be there. Team 1 goes in through the warehouse and starts to search. So far, there's nothing in plain sight. They start to split up in the warehouse looking in separate areas, when all of a sudden, Airwave says he sees a man who could be tied to a chair and he may be a hostage. Killer Croc and Mindboggler go to help him. Flag runs behind him and yells that that was their man on the inside, meaning Joker is onto them and that they've been made. Flag starts to run to help his friend when Harley goes up behind him and screams not to because it's a trap. Right as she says that, Flag freezes and looks forward as Airwave pulls a grenade out of his mouth that he just activated and it blows them up. Killer Croc is blasted back into a wall, and Airwave and Mindboggler are dead. And the explosion was so precise and set up so well that the entire building begins to collapse on them. With Croc knocked out, things are not looking good. Outside, Team 2 is distracted by the explosion, so that when the Joker goons pop out, they catch him by surprise. All of a sudden, Joker pops up and starts cackling in laughter as he sprays machine gun fire on them. Slipknot looks forward, and as he does, Joker sprays machine gun fire directly into his face. He wasn't really close to Slipknot, he's pretty further away. He's just spraying machine gun fire all over the place, and he actually hits Slipknot in the face, along with some of Flag's soldiers that were out patrolling with them. A shootout begins outside with Team 2. Back on the inside, Killer Frost is able to hold off the rubble and create a safe space for them with her ice, but she's not able to hold it off forever. Eventually, the building will collapse and probably kill all of them except Croc, but he's still knocked out. Inside this wall, the characters begin to connect. Thinking they're screwed, the characters start to talk to each other about how they're gonna die and how this is kind of sad and not how they planned it. Looker and Harley Quinn bond over being formal nobodies and turning out to be somebodies, at least in their eyes. They also talk about the idea of love. Killer Frost has also struggled with that idea. Apparently, Killer Frost used to love someone who was also a superhero, but things didn't work out, and that person didn't understand what she was struggling with, and she ended up a supervillain. She doesn't go into too big, vivid details because we're going to explore that more later. Rick Flag takes a moment to process all he's watching, which is something he never expected. He was always against the idea of Task Force X, but here he sees them being human. These people he thought were criminals that deserved to die. He went in hoping they would all die. But they're not all as bad as he thought. They're actually somewhat sympathetic and human, more human than he ever expected. We see him starting to value the lives of everyone, including the villains, which is a contrast to Waller, who values the lives of very few people other than herself. Waller is known for not really caring who she gets killed in the process, as long as she completes her objectives. Back to Team 2, we see Afterthought trying to make it around to Joker to see if he can surprise him. And he's successful. Unfortunately, Joker's ready for him, and he sprays acid directly into his chest with his flower. And we see as Afterthoughts inside start to pour out as his chest melts, and he dies a horrific death. Joker cackles as he dies, and then turns around and continues spraying fire towards the troops and the Suicide Squad. Joker, seeing that his team is starting to lose, he's told by his team that they need to start going. Scarecrow's already made it to the drop point, wherever that is. And Joker agrees, seeing that his men are dying, and as he leaves, he gets in a car, starts to drive away as the last of his goons are killed, and he starts to wonder who those people were. Now that Joker has escaped, and with the last of his goons, after they've been outnumbered by the Suicide Squad, they have Team 1 to worry about, which is barely holding up under the building that was just basically crushed on them. Dr. Psycho starts to remove parts of the building with help from the other characters, and eventually they're able to open a really big opening where the characters can start to crawl out. Deadshot looks back in the hole as Harley Quinn stays there after saying to the rest of the team that she thought she didn't deserve to be saved after all that she's done, and she has a lot of guilt on her hands. She thinks she doesn't deserve to be saved, and no one should. But Deadshot holds out his hand and says that she should come with them. And she complies and is also surprised that someone even cared enough to grab her out. She thought they would all leave her. The squad immediately starts to run as Croc is injured, and they need to hide because there's probably GCPD people coming, and they need to get out of the area and out of sight. It's pretty dark out already, and they need to find a spot to hide, and Waller orders them to sleep in the middle of the woods somewhere in a place no one will find them, to let Croc rest and try to help him, and to get rest for the morning, for early morning, where they'll do reconnaissance and continue looking for Joker since the trail is basically cold now. Cut to Batman, and we get him arriving to the crime scene as he sees all the carnage and chaos that has been unleashed. The buildings collapse, there are dead bodies everywhere, scarred, brutalized. We get a look at Afterthought's body and the brutality of what happened to him, and we see Batman and Nightwing's horrified looks at what they're looking at. As this scene's done, we see GCPD people coming over as Jim Gordon is also on his way to see what's happened. All of them shocked to see what has happened. We then cut to Joker in his lair with knives and guns and weapons everywhere. He's clearly agitated as he says he has big plans regarding him and Batman, and now this Suicide Squad has become a threat to them. Everything's going wrong, and whoever these people are must be dealt with immediately. In his emotions, anger, and annoyance and frustration, he starts to laugh, but it's more of a heartbreaking, frustrated laugh. He tells his henchmen to bring the car out because they're going for a drive.
Bring the car out. We're going for a drive.
And he wants to investigate whoever these people are because he knows something's off because he saw the soldiers there and it looked like they were protecting the villains, which means something's off and he wants answers. He tells Scarecrow to take care of the business they have planned for the next few hours while he goes to investigate the Suicide Squad. He leaves to get in the car, and that is where Act 1 ends. So that's the end of this video. Sorry it took me so long, and I'm sorry if you guys kind of feel cheated, because I know a lot of this video was just me establishing ground rules and explaining what's happening, but yeah, I can't help it. This video was just about Act 1. Next video, I will be explaining Act 2, and then after that, Act 3. I know this is cliche to say, and like every YouTuber says it, but seriously, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below so far. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of my rewrite so far. Obviously, I'm not done yet, so if you're skeptical, I understand, because I am juggling a lot here, and I'm doing my best to pace it well, but with the final product, I am actually very proud of it, and I hope you guys enjoy what I have planned too. I know that I'm kind of all over the place, and it's a bit, you know, it seems a bit like I have a lot going on, and I kind of do, but I'm really proud of it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I think Act 2 is where it gets really good, so I can't wait to tell you guys about that, but for now, I will leave it here.
Whoa,